Hey everybody, this is a video I wanted to show you about something I learned after I did that entire playlist on designing and building your automata box. And had I known this, I would have changed completely the order of my project and how students go about doing it. But for now, since I put all that time into it, we're just sticking with it and I'm kind of showing my students as we go. So one of the benefits to Onshape is that you can model everything in place just like you have. And when we went to assemble, I had such a hard time trying to figure out the map or the offset of the axle bushings and everything. Shout out to Onshape and their Learning Center. If you haven't explored the courses there's one on assemblies. So I went and checked that one out and I learned about the group constraints. So I'm going to show you what that means. If I go into my assembly tab, real quick, I'm going to delete this and re-import it. Hopefully my internet won't be so slow. And I'm going to bring in everything just as it's modeled. I'm going to place it, and I do have everything separate, so keep that in mind. But I'm going to accept that. Now the assembly or the group constraint only works when you are using what would be a fastened mate. So if you're using a revolute, you're using a slider or a tangent constraint, don't use group. That locks them in place like glue. So I'm going to go ahead and click group up here. I'm going to choose all of my box sides and the box tops, and I'm going to click OK and accept that. Down here, I have a group that I'm going to rename box, so I know what that's talking about. If you look at it, you can see that I can actually drag that entire box because it's now assembled like it would be in fasten mate. Actually, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to grab those follower guides at the top. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do a second group for my crankshaft. So I'm going to grab the axle bushing, the axle, the other axle bushing, and the crank. I'm going to group that together. And then I am going to just do one follower and follower guide as a group and show you what that does. So group, follower guide, follower, done. And I am going to actually delete these parts. I meant to do that before I started. Okay, so now that I've got this deleted, what did I just do? What did I do for us? Oops, and it looks like I'm missing something. I'm gonna pause for a second and see what went wrong. So I accidentally deleted that side when I deleted the last follower and follower guide. Okay, so what does this do? What does group do for us? Well, if you click and drag that box, you can see that everything is separated. I don't have anything grounded yet, but everything is fastened mated as a group, which is awesome. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab that little triad, grab the center. I'm going to move that box to origin, and I'm going to fix the bottom of my box so that I have something grounded. Fix. Now, this is the beautiful thing. I'm going to use one revolute command to constrain the axle bushing to the axle. I lost it. Grab it. And there we go. It is in. And everything is exactly where I want it to be because I modeled it in place and I used that group. And the crank works. Isn't that beautiful? And then the last thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to use that slider command or the slider constraint to mate the bottom. That didn't get where I wanted it to go. Yes, it did. Okay. The bottom, kind of where that follower, that roller would be. And I'm going to bring that over so we can see a little better to the bottom of that follower guide. Ooh, yep, that's not where I wanted it to go. So I'm going to do that again. Slider mate, and I'm going to go right here in the center of the roller so that it gets the surface of the roller. And then bring it over, zoom out a little bit, rotate so I can see the follower guide bottom. When you know this was supposed to be a short video. And come on. My mouse is kind of goofing around. There we go. There we go. Okay, so now it's connected. I'm going to go ahead and put in my limits, minimum of negative 1.25, max would be 0, solve, green check mark, and I am going to put it in isometric so I can test. Close out because I don't need another slider. And did it work? Yep. So now I have limits for my follower and roller. So it makes it a whole lot easier. Probably could have avoided about 5 different assembly type videos with that group constraints I wanted to share.